Sabotage at Springfield Armory. Forgotten blueprints and the shadows of history. It's just past midnight when the silent alarms are tripped at the historic Springfield Armory. Moonlight glints off the iron gates, and inside, rows of antique muskets and rifles stand as silent sentinels to centuries of American history. But tonight, the past refuses to sleep. Someone has broken in, a shadow among shadows, drawn not by the lure of old weapons, but by the promise of secrets buried deep within the armory's forgotten blueprints. A place where history never sleeps. The Springfield Armory, nestled in western Massachusetts, is a landmark of American ingenuity. Established in 1794, it churned out muskets, rifles, and a legacy of innovation that played a pivotal role in every conflict from the Revolution to World War II. Today, the Armory is a museum, a hallowed hall where visitors can trace the evolution of American firepower. But, as with all places steeped in history, not every story is on public display. Rumors long lingered among staff and local historians that somewhere among the stacks of yellowed schematics and ledgers, the Armory held blueprints for a weapon that was never built, the product of a secret project abandoned at the war's end. Most dismissed it as myth, a ghost story for the night guards. But legends, like old sparks, sometimes smolder unseen until a sudden gust brings them roaring back to life. The break-in, shadows and motives. Security footage showed a figure moving with practiced stealth, bypassing modern alarms and heading straight for the archives. There, among the dust and shadows, the intruder rifled through drawers, ignoring the famous designs to search for something older, something hidden. The next morning, museum director Dr. Elaine Carter stared at the chaos, a toppled chair, scattered blueprints, and one empty folder. The missing documents were not part of any public exhibit. Handwritten in the margin was a code name: Project Sentinel. What was so important about these forgotten plans? And why, after all these years, had someone risked everything to steal them? Secrets within the blueprints. Word of the break-in spread quickly, drawing local police, federal agents, and an influx of armchair detectives. Dr. Carter pored over what remained of the archives, piecing together clues. Project Sentinel, it turned out, was a little-known research initiative from the waning days of World War II. Designed at the Armory's peak, it aimed to create a new kind of repeating rifle, lighter, faster, and with mechanisms decades ahead of its time. The project was abruptly canceled in 1946, and its files buried in the vaults. Some speculated it was too ambitious. Others whispered of sabotage, political rivalries, or the looming shadow of the atomic age making conventional weapons obsolete. All that remained were a handful of blueprints, a few faded photographs, and now, one vanishing act that threatened to rewrite the Armory's legacy. Ghosts of old rivalries. As investigators delved deeper, a dormant conflict resurfaced. Decades ago, rival inventors at the Armory had vied for recognition, and even sabotage was not unheard of. The blueprints for Project Sentinel were the last work of engineer Thomas Abernathy, a visionary who clashed with colleagues, and whose sudden departure after the Project's cancellation was shrouded in mystery. Interviews with retired workers painted a picture of a workplace brimming with patriotism, but also pride, jealousy, and secrecy. Everyone wanted to make their mark, recalled one former machinist, but sometimes those marks were left with a knife in the back. Was the break-in the work of a modern-day collector after rare technology? Or was it retribution, an old score finally settled? The present collides with the past. The investigation took a dramatic turn when a local antique dealer reported a stranger offering to sell rare government plans. The police set a sting, and soon an arrest was made. A descendant of a disgraced armory engineer, convinced that the blueprints would vindicate his family's name and prove his ancestor was the true genius behind Project Sentinel. As the stolen folder was recovered, Dr. Carter made a startling discovery. The blueprints showed innovations years ahead of their time, designs eerily similar to firearms that would appear on the battlefield decades later. The Springfield Armory, it seemed, had always been a crucible for invention, its greatest achievements and deepest wounds often intertwined, the lasting legacy. The attempted theft at the Springfield Armory became more than a headline. It sparked renewed interest in the site's hidden stories and the personal dramas that shaped American history. The blueprints, now properly preserved, are on display alongside a new exhibit, Secrets of the Armory, Innovation and Intrigue, inviting visitors to ponder the thin line between rivalry and sabotage, ambition and betrayal. Beneath the polished floors and gleaming displays, the Springfield Armory remains a place where the past is alive and unfinished, where every blueprint is a map, and every shadow might conceal a story waiting to be told.